My sister sent me a wedding gift list of 7 luxury items, Tesla, Rolex, and more. I skipped 2. Then she texted, "You missed 2 gifts. Don't show up." Mom added, "She deserves more. It's her big day." I replied, "Understood." The next morning, I canceled the rest, adjusted my financial support for the catering, and what I did next changed everything. My sister's wedding wasn't a celebration. It was a production. The kind with branded hashtags, rented doves, and a videographer who specialized in slow-motion champagne sprays. Ashley didn't just want to get married. She wanted to trend. I was sipping coffee when the email came in. Subject line: gift coordination, final. No greeting. No, hope you're doing well. Just an attachment and 2 lines. Please confirm your items. You're the oldest. You can afford it. No excuses. I opened the spreadsheet. The list included a Tesla, a Rolex Daytona, a Hermes clutch, a pair of designer accent chairs, a chandelier, a high-end espresso machine, and a crystal bar set. Luxury items. All brand new. All full price. Some had my name pre-assigned. Others were just marked available. I blinked, then laughed. Not because it was funny, but because this wasn't new. Ashley had always treated me like her personal funding department. When she needed tuition help, I paid. When she wanted to find herself in Bali, I covered the flights and her hotel. When Mom's mortgage was 3 months behind, I wired the difference without hesitation. It wasn't about the money. I make good money. I live comfortably, alone, no kids, no big obligations. It's not about the price tag. It's the assumption, the entitlement, the silence where gratitude should be. But still, I selected 5 of the items. I ordered them, paid in full, even added a note on the gift receipt. Hope it's everything you dreamed of. Congratulations, Ash. I thought that would be it. The next day, I got a text. Ashley, you skipped 2. Don't show up. Followed, 2 minutes later, by a message from Mom in the group chat. She deserves more. It's her big day. I stared at the screen for a while. The audacity wasn't even surprising anymore. It was just exhausting. I typed a response, deleted it, then typed again. Understood. That was it. I closed the chat, opened my financial dashboard, and scrolled through the wedding-related transactions. Over the past few months, I'd helped with more than just gifts. I'd co-signed vendor orders, fronted deposits, handled logistics because, as Ashley put it, I'm swamped with content planning. The espresso machine? Ordered on my account. The catering? Deposit charged to my card. They needed someone reliable. The florist? Scheduled under my email, because I had better follow-through. I clicked through each transaction and started revoking payments. I didn't yell. I didn't threaten. I just adjusted. She told me not to show up. Fine. But if I was stepping back, I wasn't leaving empty-handed. She wanted a performance. She'd get one, just not the kind she rehearsed. It didn't start with the wedding. It started with a phone call 7 years ago. I remember the exact words. "Please don't tell Mom yet. I just need a reset." Ashley had flunked her first semester. Miserably. She said the campus was toxic, her roommates were jealous, and her professors didn't get her. Then she floated the idea of Bali, as casually as one might suggest lunch. A few months to realign spiritually. Maybe get into yoga, maybe journal. Flights, accommodation, that overpriced eco-retreat she found on TikTok. All went on my card. I even sent her money every Friday just in case. She extended her trip by 2 months. Accidentally. I said nothing. When she got back, there was a dinner. A welcome home thing. She smiled, posted photos, tagged me as #bestbrother. I paid the bill. No one mentioned the loan. A year later, the roof on Mom's house collapsed during a summer storm. Dad had just left. Insurance denied the claim. I remember driving there with a check folded in my glove box. I handed it to Mom before she could finish panicking. She cried, said I saved her, then changed the subject and never brought it up again. There's a pattern, and I've been complicit in every thread. When Dad left, I didn't cry. I calculated. I looked at the mortgage, the utilities, the phone plans. I rerouted payments, consolidated debt, told myself I was being practical. That's what I do. I fix things. Quietly. Without fanfare. Ashley called me the stable one. Mom called me our rock. Neither of them asked how I was doing. I was the one who never complains. The one who has a good job. The one who gets it. They confused love with dependence. And I let them. Ashley would call from new cities. New internships. New passions. Once it was digital marketing, then marine biology, then a startup she co-founded that lasted 6 weeks. I'd Venmo her without question. I told myself it was easier than arguing. Then came the wedding. 2 months before the date, she texted me. Hey, I'm swamped. Can you handle a few vendor convos? You're so much better at, sounding professional. I said yes. I didn't just handle them. I became the point of contact. I fronted deposits, wrote emails, smoothed timelines, all in the name of being helpful. There was no mention of repayment. There never is. Then came the list. A 7-item spreadsheet titled Gift Coordination. Tesla Model Y, Rolex Daytona, Hermes clutch, Loewe chairs, La Marzocco machine, Baccarat bar set, a designer chandelier. Next to my name, items 1 to 5. Thank you. I bought them. Not because I wanted to, not because I agreed, but because saying no felt unfamiliar, like speaking a language I'd never learned. The next day, she texted, "You skipped 2. Don't show up." I stared at the message for a long time. Then came a new one. From Mom. In the family group chat. She deserves more. It's her big day. I didn't respond immediately. I sat there, on the edge of my bed, in silence. Then I typed, "Understood." And something inside me cracked. Not like glass, like silence breaking in a room where no one noticed you were present. I made espresso, poured 2 cups. Mike, my best friend since high school, was over. He saw my face before I said anything. "You okay?" She sent me an invoice for her wedding. I said, like an actual bill, a spreadsheet, with my name and 7 luxury items. "And you?" "I bought 5. Mike paused, stirred his espresso, said, "If you were a bank, they'd at least say thank you." We didn't laugh. Not this time. Later that evening, I opened my laptop, pulled up the vendor folder. Caterer, florist, decor, all still unpaid in full. Just deposits. Final balances marked, due on wedding day. I remembered something else, the venue contract. She forwarded it to me weeks ago with a casual, "Can you look this over?" Too many big words. It listed me as secondary signer. So technically, they didn't just depend on me. They relied on me. And now they told me not to come. They assumed I'd still show up, still swipe my card, still absorb the stress like always. But I wasn't coming, and neither was my silence. I opened the contact list, started calling every vendor. The morning of the wedding arrived without ceremony. No texts, no calls, just silence. A kind of silence that hums in your ears, like the moment right before thunder. I made coffee, sat on my balcony, watched clouds move. I hadn't told anyone my plans. Not even Mike. He just gave me a look last night and said, "You sure?" I nodded. He nodded back. 9 a.m. My calendar buzzed. Ashley's wedding, 1:30 p.m. I smiled, opened my laptop, and began. First, La Belle Catering. The vendor I had prepaid 6 weeks ago because Ashley had too much on her plate. Subject, revoked payment authorization. Body, effective immediately, please suspend service. The previous payment has been withdrawn due to unauthorized usage of my financial identity. I CC'd the event coordinator, then moved on to the florist. Same message, different screenshot. It took all of 15 minutes. 15 minutes to unwind months of blind generosity. By 10 a.m., I was back on the balcony, cappuccino in hand, jazz in the background. At 10:41, my phone buzzed. "Ashley, what did you do?" I didn't answer. 11:03, another buzz. "MOM, there's a problem with the shrimp? The florist says she never got paid." 11:06, "Ashley, did you cancel stuff? Are you insane? Do you know how this makes us look?" I opened the group chat, the same one where they told me I skipped 2 gifts and I shouldn't show up. I replied with one word, "Understood." Then sent a screenshot of the revocation receipts. One by one. Catering, florals, rentals, bartenders. It was never about destroying anything. It was about reclaiming what was mine. At 11:30 a.m., guests began arriving. I wasn't there, but I knew. Mike sent a photo. Plastic folding chairs in a circle outside the venue. No music. No welcome drinks. At 12:10, I got a call from the wedding planner. "Hi, I was told you were the financial contact for today's event." I said nothing. She continued, "The caterers won't unload. They say the balance is unpaid. The florist just left." Then quieter. "The bride is having a meltdown." I asked, "Has the balance been paid?" She whispered, "No." I said, "Then there's nothing more to discuss." and hung up. At 12:47, my phone exploded. Ashley, you're making this day harder than it needed to be. Me, you told me not to come. Ashley, not like this. Me, this is me not coming. By 1 p.m., things had escalated. The TikTok videos started. One of the guests, a cousin I hadn't seen in years, posted a clip of Ashley yelling at a staffer. The caption read, "Bride overwhelmed as catering issues arise while grandma sits in the heat." 50,000 views. In 2 hours. At 1:26 p.m., Mike called. "Dude, you're going viral." I asked, "How bad is it?" He said, "There's a handwritten sign at the entrance. Guests will be seated once balance is cleared." Then added, "They serve gas station cupcakes." And someone brought their own beer. He was trying not to laugh. Meanwhile, I was still on the roof, still sipping my cappuccino. 1:35 p.m. A voicemail from Mom. "You always have to be the center of attention. You couldn't just give her this one day, could you?" I didn't listen to the rest. Because the truth was, I had given her the day, exactly as she wanted it, without me. At 2 p.m., one final message from Ashley. "I hope you're proud of yourself." And I was. Not because it fell apart, but because I finally stepped out of the circus. She handed me a guest list and a bill. I RSVP'd with silence. And balance due. The morning after the wedding, I woke up without an alarm. No texts. No missed calls. Just sunlight stretching across the floor like nothing had ever happened. But something had. I poured myself coffee, real coffee, not the glittery vanilla hazelnut nightmare Ashley insisted on when she visited. I sat by the window, opened my email, and there it was. Subject, yesterday. From Mr. Dunning, my 11th grade English teacher. I don't know what happened, but I've never seen a bride scream about unpaid shrimp while guests sat on plastic chairs. I'm sorry you went through that. And I'm proud of you. I didn't know he was even invited. A second email pinged in. From David, a cousin I hadn't spoken to in 4 years. "Dude, they replaced steak with sliders. Plastic forks." And Ashley yelled at the violinist. "Did you really pull the plug?" No emojis. No LOL. Just that. I took a deep breath. Opened Instagram. A handful of guests had posted filtered photos, tightly cropped, dim lighting, no wide shots of the venue. One post stood out. A short reel from the photographer's assistant. Not meant to go public. It was raw, chaotic, honest. The clip showed the gift table, or what was supposed to be one. A folding table. 2 boxes. One already half open. The caption read, "The thank you corner." And then Ashley's voice in the background. "This is unacceptable. Where are the rest? Where's the baccarat bar set? The chairs? The bags?" Her new husband was holding his phone to his ear, whispering aggressively. A woman in a headset, probably the planner, kept saying, "This wasn't the agreement. We had a down payment." Then, silence. Cut to black. No music. No overlay. Just real life. I closed Instagram. A few minutes later, my phone buzzed. Ashley. Just her name. No message preview. Just her name, like it carried weight. I hesitated. Picked it up. "You put me in an impossible position," she said, not even waiting for a greeting. I stood up, walked to the balcony, looked out over the quiet city. "Is that what this is?" I asked. "Humiliation? Not a lesson." She exhaled sharply. "You don't get it. It was our day. You had one job, to support me." I bit the inside of my cheek. "No," I said. "You had one job, to love your brother, not invoice him." She went silent. Then, "I told you not to show up." "You didn't. But you didn't have to sabotage us." I didn't answer that. She continued. "Now people are talking. Mom cried all night. The planner might sue. I can't even post the reel I paid $3,000 for because the venue looked like a prom gone wrong." "That's not my fault," I said. Calm. Controlled. "It's your budget's fault." She hung up. An hour later, a voicemail came in. "Mom." I played it on speaker. "You could have just sucked it up. It was one day, and you had to make it about you. She's your sister. You were supposed to give her everything. She would have done the same." That last part made me laugh. Ashley would have done the same. Ashley had never done a single thing for me. No birthday cards. No hospital visits. Not even a damn coffee when I had surgery and couldn't walk. Everything had always flowed one way, from me to them. And now that the faucet was off, they were shocked. I thought about replying. About reminding Mom how I paid off her car loan when she lost her job. How I covered Ashley's rent for 2 years. How I said yes so many times I forgot how no even felt. But I didn't. I just archived the voicemail. Then my phone rang again. This time, the caller ID made me pause. Dad. Not mom and dad. Just him. We hadn't spoken much since the divorce. He moved to Arizona, remarried, got into hiking. We talked once a year. Maybe. I picked up. Hello. He cleared his throat. Hey, you got a minute? Sure. I heard about what happened, he said. Your mom's been vocal. I didn't respond. I'm not calling to fix anything, he added. Just wanted to say, it's about time someone stood up. I blinked. What? You always carried them, he said. And I let it happen. I shouldn't have. But I'm proud of you. I swallowed hard. Silence stretched. Thanks, I finally said. That means more than you know. We didn't talk long after that. Just enough. When I hung up, I opened the group chat. The same one where Mom once sent Bitmojis and Ashley dropped links to $800 shoes like they were memes. It was flooded now. You made a scene when we needed unity. Do you feel better? What kind of brother are you? We're family. We're supposed to help each other. Bring back the kindness you used to have. I scrolled past them all. No apology. No accountability. Just noise. I scrolled back up. Saw the original message from Ashley. You missed too. Don't show up. I long pressed the chat. Clicked mute. Then archive. I didn't want to delete it. Not yet. Some lessons need to be remembered. Later that night, I got a final email. From the catering company. A receipt. Final adjustment. Contract voided by primary contact. Refund processed. Balance outstanding. Please advise if any further communication is needed. I stared at the line. Primary contact. They meant me. That was the problem all along. They all thought I was the primary contact. The provider. The buffer. The bank. But not anymore. I closed my laptop. Looked out the window. No fireworks. No noise. Just peace. 3 weeks later, an envelope slid into my mailbox with glitter on the seal and a faint scent of something expensive and unnecessary. Probably the same perfume Ashley sprayed on the wedding invites. I already knew what it was before I opened it. Inside, a thank you for attending postcard. Gold-foiled. Custom font. A filtered photo of Ashley and her husband mid-spin on a barely lit dance floor. The edges blurred to hide the plastic chairs, the missing floral arrangements, the chaos that came after. Below the image, printed in cursive, thank you for being a part of our special day. We hope to see you again soon. I looked at the bottom. There was a list of names. A long scroll of guests and family. My name wasn't on it. There was just a gap. A literal blank space between two names, as if someone had pressed delete and moved on. I stared at it for a moment, then laughed. Loud. The kind of laugh that sits in your chest for weeks waiting to be shaken loose. They erased me. Not even out of spite. Out of habit. As if I'd never been there at all. As if I hadn't paid for the food they tried to serve, the chairs that never arrived, the down payments, the deposits, the favors, the silent bailouts. As if I hadn't held that family up for a decade. They replaced my presence with white space. I put the card down, walked to the kitchen, made coffee, sat down at the counter and opened my laptop. Typed 5 words into Google. Flights to Lisbon. One way. Clicked the first link. Booked it. No hesitation. Window seat. No return date. 3 hours later, I was sitting at the gate with a backpack and nothing else. My apartment lease was up in a month. I didn't renew. Let them figure out the rest. The plane took off as the sun was setting. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel like I owed anyone anything. Lisbon was warm, quiet, forgiving. I stayed at a modest hotel at first. Not 5 stars, not a villa. Just clean linen, strong Wi-Fi, and coffee that tasted like someone still cared. I found a small cafe on the 3rd morning. Ocean view. No line. No influencers taking photos of their brunch. Just me, my notebook, and silence. I sat there for hours, writing nothing, just watching. Then my phone vibrated. I let it sit on the table for a full minute before turning it over. Group chat. Family. The first message. Ashley had to sell her bag. Then, she believes your actions affected the day. They're saying you never loved her. She told everyone you blacklisted her wedding. Then a photo came in. Ashley, crying, on a friend's couch. Captioned, grateful for real ones. The irony. I closed the chat and blocked the number. They could rewrite the story however they liked. Let them paint me as the villain, the ungrateful one, the troublemaker, the ghost. Because sometimes disappearing is louder than staying. I paid for the wedding they couldn't finish. Then I left them with a balance, emotional, financial, and otherwise. They wanted gifts. I gave them reflection. They wanted luxury. I gave them a mirror. They wanted a show. I gave them the silence that follows when the curtain falls. 2 weeks later, I got a letter forwarded from my old apartment. Plain envelope. No return address. Inside was a printout. A screenshot of Ashley's wedding registry. The original list. 7 gifts. 2 missing. And next to the unchecked boxes, in my handwriting, from when I still considered participating, I had scribbled a note. Not to them, just to myself. Don't confuse obligation with love. I folded the paper, slid it back into the envelope, wrote one word on the back. RSVP, declined. Final scene. I'm back at the cafe. The same table. Sunlight dancing on the rim of my coffee cup. A little girl at the next table points at me and asks her dad something in Portuguese. He smiles, shrugs. I smile back. Then my phone buzzes. Again, Ashley's number. This time no name, just the digits. I let it ring. Let it keep ringing until it stopped. Then turned the phone off, set it down, and whispered, "Not today." Ending monologue. She wanted a Rolex. I gave her a reminder. She wanted a car. I gave her control. She wanted a show. I gave her a lesson. But what I gave myself was peace. The screen fades to black. No music, no noise, just the sound of ocean waves. And a man sipping coffee, finally uninvited from the chaos he never truly belonged to. Now I have to ask you something. Was I wrong? I didn't scream. I didn't expose anyone. I just stopped playing along. They sent me a list, not an invitation. They made it clear I was a wallet, not a brother. So I replied, understood. And I meant it. Would you have done the same? Would you have still shown up, smiling, pretending everything was fine? Or would you have drawn a line? Be honest. Because I've been wondering, was this strength or just finally giving up? Tell me, what would you have done